On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Bronx sexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised that the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no! Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
Oh, yeah! Oh, man. Oh, wait. None of that. Good morning. Welcome to the pre-holiday Manic Monday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us. And welcome to those of you watching over CSTV and All Points West and BS3 TV and All Points South and Southwest. So welcome to those of you listening on WIRU-DB live in Chicago, and also to the folks on WQEE 99.1 FM in Atlanta. It's the day before the 4th, day before fireworks, but we're going to have some fireworks here. Cole Johnson will join me in a little while, but I'm going to take you through the first hour as I pull everything up here, and we're about ready to go. And it's time to get this party started, and we will get this party started the right way with the Rip Around, presented by Fanatics. The All-Star rosters have been announced, and 8 Atlanta Braves, 8 will head to Seattle and T-Mobile Park, while 6 Texas Rangers tops in the American League, as the 2023 All-Star Game, the 93rd Midsummer Classic, will take place a week from tomorrow. The full rosters for the game were announced on Sunday, and joining the starters will be a bevy of first-time members of the All-Star Game. Let's go through the starters for the American League. Yandy Diaz from the Rays is at first base. Marcus Semien from the Rangers at second. Corey Seager is at short. Third base is Josh Young. Behind the plate is Jonah Heim. Both of those last two from the Rangers. Outfield goes Aaron Judge, Randy Arozarena, and Mike Trout. And the DH, of course, is Shohei Ohtani. The reserve infielders go this way: Bo Bichette from the Blue Jays, Jose Ramirez from the Indians, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. from the Blue Jays, and Whit Merrifield also from the Blue Jays. So Toronto is well represented here in this All-Star Game. Adley Rutschman and Salvador Perez, the former World Series MVP, leads all catchers with 15 home runs. And the American League outfielders, Austin Hayes from the Orioles, Adolis Garcia from the Rangers, Brent Rooker from the Athletics, Yordan Alvarez from the Astros, although he will miss the game with an oblique strain, and Luis Robert Jr. from my beloved Chicago White Sox has a career-high 24 home runs. Starting pitchers go Shane McClanahan, Garrett Cole, Kevin Gossman, Framber Valdez, Nate Eovaldi, Sonny Gray, Michael Lorenzen, and Luis Castillo. Relievers, Felix Bautista from the Orioles, Yenner Cano from the Orioles, Kenley Jansen from the Red Sox, Emmanuel Clase from the Cleveland Indians. In the National League, first to third goes Freddie Freeman from the Dodgers, Luis Arraez, I pronounced that wrong, from the Marlins, Orlando Arcia from the Braves, and Nolan Arenado from the St. Louis Cardinals. Behind the plate from the Braves is Sean Murphy. Outfield goes Mookie Betts from the Dodgers, Corbin Carroll from the Diamondbacks. Hello, the Diamondbacks have a representative. and Ronald Acuna Jr. from the Atlanta Braves. Speaking of the Atlanta Braves, the game I will cover tonight features the Atlanta Braves and the Cleveland Indians. That'll be a 7:05 first pitch. Infielders. Infield reserves, Matt Olson from the Braves, Ozzie Albies from the Braves, Austin Riley from the Braves. Gee, catching on a theme here. Dansby Swanson, a former Brave, leads all NL shortstop in a defensive category in his first season with Chicago. The Polar Bear, Pete Alonso from the Mets lone selection, and who'd have thought that in March, has hit 24 home runs. Catchers goes Will Smith from the Dodgers, Elliot Diaz from the Rockies. Your outfielders, Nick Castellanos from the Phillies, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. from the Diamondbacks, Juan Soto from the Padres, Jorge Soler from the Fish. Marcus Stroman leads the starting pitching contingent from the Chicago Cubs. Zach Gallen from the Diamondbacks, Mitch Keller from the Pirates, Clayton Kershaw from the Dodgers. Of course, you got to have Clayton Kershaw. Bryce Elder from the Braves. Also, Spencer Strider from the Braves, who pitched brilliantly in a game against Philadelphia that I covered. Justin Steele from the Cubs, goes Josiah Gray from the Nationals. Relievers, Alex Diaz from the Reds, Camilo Doval from the Giants, Josh Hader from the Padres, the left-handed closing ace, Devin Williams from the Brewers. So congratulations to all of the all-star starters and reserves for the 93rd Midsummer Classic in Seattle, Washington. Fan was on the field at Citi Field during the Sunday night game between the Mets and the Giants, but not for the reason that you might expect, according to USA Today. Before Francisco Alvarez's first at bat in the bottom of the fifth inning, home plate umpire Stu Sherwater called timeout as a man was spotted on the warning track in left center field after tumbling over the railing. The man clutched his face and raised his hands as security rushed to apprehend him. In the bottom of the sixth, the man was shown beyond the left center field wall on the ESPN broadcast with his nose bandaged and sharing a laugh with the fans around him. Got to make that setup better so fans don't tumble, part A. B, so the fans will be safe going to ballparks. And C, to keep the stupid ones in the stands. I'm not saying this guy is stupid, but you want to keep the fans where they are and keep the players where they are and everyone out of everyone else's harm. Well, free agency sees the Lakers keeping both Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell, two of the key Lakers that helped their surprising launch to a Western Conference Finals appearance where they got smacked by the eventual world champion Denver Nuggets. Dylan Brooks is off to a new beginning in Houston. Reeves agreed to a 4-year deal that could be worth $56 million, and D'Angelo Russell returned to the Lakers as well on a 2-year, $37 million deal. Also, Milwaukee, which had already retained Chris Middleton, kept center Brook Lopez on a 2-year deal. A person familiar with the agreement told the Associated Press. So the Lakers are really trying to run it back. How? I might get the big dog Shane Lake up here as Shane Van Gisbergen wins historic wet and wild Chicago street race in his NASCAR debut. It was on a rainy Sunday in downtown Chicago, chasing down Justin Haley and Chase Elliott in a memorable finish to the series' first street race. After passing Elliott, Van Gisbergen dueled with Haley in the final laps before the 3-time Supercars champion moved in front for good. Haley held on for second, and Elliott was third. The 34-year-old Van Gisbergen, there we go, a New Zealand native, became the first driver to win his Cup Series debut since Johnny Rutherford in the second qualifying race at Daytona in 1963. Congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen on his win in Chicago. And I talked with the big dog Shane Lake over the course of the weekend, and he was showing me pictures of how wild, absolutely wild, that race was. So lot of stuff to get into. I'll have Shane on later this afternoon, trying to get all the contingents ready for this afternoon. As got the feeling tomorrow with my children being here, I will not be on air. Kyrie Irving stays with the Dallas Mavericks. And that concludes this morning's Whip Around. Kyrie Irving staying with the Mavericks. What the hell? Ryan McCarthy comes your way at the bottom of this hour, and Jay Spivey will come your way at the bottom of hour number 2. So we'll pause for a break, and when we come back, a familiar face stays home. You're watching and listening to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson on all of our video and audio networks. Back in a flash.
The following is a public service announcement from David 3000.
Yankees suck.
This has been a public service announcement from David 3000.
You quit pushing that button.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
We're not a cooking show. We're a show about cooking. We turn the camera around and point it at you. Our show takes place right inside your kitchen.
Hey y'all, Snowman here. Catch me, Cole Johnson, Wise El Jefe, Vicala, and the rest of the usual suspects and a few unusual suspects as we bring you 2 hours of the best sports talk you will ever watch and listen to. It's called Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Now on at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on CSTV and CSTVNow.com. Join us, won't you?
I'm in another lane. I'm a different breed. I'm everything you can never be. I'm next level. Next level.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing Next Level Pro Wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVNow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
Cause we take this job so serious.
The is that? Sorry, pardon me. My apologies.
What in the all types of blue hell?
This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
Shane Lake will join me here in just a moment. Ryan McCarthy will come on at the bottom of the bottom of the hour. Man, it's like I said before we went to break, and if it seems like we're coming in on horseback, I am. I have been running around all morning, but Kyrie Irving returns to Dallas. Who cares? Who cares? Ay. Speaking of returning, Draymond Green is back with the Warriors. He signed a 4-year, $100 million deal, according to a source telling the Associated Press. He's chasing more championships with the Warriors, and the person that spoke to the AP on the condition of anonymity on Friday as the NBA's free agency period began, because the deal cannot be finalized until the moratorium period ends. The 4th year is at Green's option. Green had said he wanted to remain with the Warriors for the rest of his career, playing alongside Steph and Clay, a trio that has captured 4 titles together starting in 2015. Welcome to Big Dog Shane Lake in the house. What's up, man?
I am telling you right now, man, doggone yesterday was out of this world for NASCAR.
I bet it was, man. A street race, the first ever street race in a NASCAR series. And the funny part was it's everything that you had told me it would be. But the one contingent, well, you got to they have a contingent for everything. Yeah. But at the same time, it was wet and it was wild and it was rainy in downtown Chicago.
Oh, dude, you have absolutely no bad how truly bad it was in Chicago. It was insane how damp it was. They said it was, I think, 2 inches of rain through the morning prior to the race.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you're you're a NASCAR fan. I'm getting into NASCAR more often. How do you plan a contingency for 2 inches of rain the morning of a race?
Honestly, you're looking at just waiting it out, letting the air dryers do their thing, let the Titans, just dry the track up as best you can, and just get it to the point where you're going to need the rain tires anyway, but you're not dealing with 2 inches of water through some of the braking zones.
Yeah, this is true. We talked about the track last week, and I want you to take us through your perspective through that track in downtown Chicago. You had a chance to see the race. I want you to go turn by turn through that track and take all of us and the NASCAR fans through it. Hold on. I'm trying to push the right button. There we go. We got it. Oh, had it.
Right, yeah, we got it. Turn one coming off the front straightaway is one of your best passing zones. Going down into left-hander, you got probably a third gear straightaway. They were running it probably in fourth because of rain. Going off into turn two, tight little right-hander. Literally, there was only 2 or 3 passing zones this entire race. That was it. Unless you were Gizzy, and then, you were just passing everybody everywhere and saying to hell with it. I mean, the way.
Oh, I messed up. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, it's Monday, man. We ain't had enough caffeine for today. Come on. I know, right?
That's the truth. Go ahead.
The way Van Gisbergen dissected this track was insane, especially late. Once they finally got the slick tires on, Gizzy was like a second and a half to 2 seconds faster than Haley and Chase, and he was running them down with a handful of laps to go. He came from 18th to the lead late, and that was on slick tires on a track that only had 2 or 3 passing zones. The best ones were turn one, going on into the left-hander, turns 4 and 5 if you were able to set it up right, which was the horseshoe going into another right-hander. You could set someone up on the horseshoe, you could have got a lot of work done, and he was just floating through there. Turn 6 after the second long straightaway, he was setting everybody up into that braking zone. And that was literally your best passing spots. Everything else was just, 1 or 2 cars wide. Going set left-right complex, wow.
Shane Lake joining us here on the program on this Monday. Sorry about the echo, folks. We're getting it fixed as soon as we can. But a street series, and they just happened to debut it not in Joliet, but in Chicago, in downtown Chicago. You talked about the thrill of Chicago hosting a race like this. We talked about its course and how how many hairpin turns that the course was going to have. But you said something to me over the course of the weekend. You never know what you do in a race like that, on a course like that, until you go through it. And for most of those drivers, some of them may have done a street series, but they haven't done a street series with that kind of course.
God, no, dude. I mean, seriously, the only way you could get anywhere close to that was through iRacing. That was it. And a lot of these guys ran the Pro Invitational that first debuted the track, and then I saw a lot of guys on the service later on this past week getting used to it. But the only other way to get anywhere close to that, 1 or 2 guys, I think it was Daniel Suarez was one of them, actually ran some street races for the Trans Am series leading into this. But this was a whole new animal, and especially in the rain, it was even worse.
My NASCAR expert, Shane Lake, joining us here. You mentioned something Friday or last week And I want you to touch on how big this is. We didn't get a chance to touch on it last week. This course in Chicago, through downtown Chicago, a lot of influence, I beg your pardon, came through iRacing.
It was literally one of the two tracks, the LA Coliseum track that was housed in the actual Coliseum that USC uses was the other one. But this one was beyond influenced by iRacing, and a lot of the Coca-Cola series guys helped design this track. I mean, Michael Conti on Twitter over the weekend said, by the way, you can thank me for kind of the reprofiling of turns 4 and 5, because wasn't for me, a lot more people would have been stacked up in there. So a lot of the Coke series guys had influence on this, and we have seen the fruits of their labor in abundance, because I think they had 80,000 people at the track. And one of the rare times you actually saw a DJ at the track on the front stretch too. Figure that one out.
Well, it's Chicago. They can figure any and everything out. But going back to the influence of iRacing, internet racing course, and all the courses that you have raced. You've raced some similar to this, but not this particular course. And to have the drivers not only put their input into this, but to have it actually executed, that has to say something about the sport growing virtually.
You want to see iRacing's influence in NASCAR? Look at the current car they're using. They actually used iRacing to develop the next gen car, let alone the track that they were just on. So iRacing has been through everything in NASCAR these days. That's how much influence and how much the manufacturers and teams put stock in iRacing.
Shane Lake joining us here on this Money edition of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Shift gears a little bit. You said something in the comments, and I absolutely adore you for this. And Chris Dietz was the first one to mention this. When all the free agency possibilities in the NBA were floating around, the one that we both bristled at, and a lot of people bristled at, was the fact that Kyrie Irving is choosing, if you want to call it that, to stay with Dallas. Why you want to choose a player that actually tanked your team and took you out of a playoff berth?
Dallas is screwed up on this one. They would have been better off in reinvesting the money in doggone Luka, for that matter, let alone Kyrie, than just leave Kyrie alone. But now Dallas is going to be stuck with him unless they try to use him as a bargaining chip down the road. But what team's going to want to have that drama?
You just said the same. You just said the same thing. Who wants that drama?
Nobody. That's the thing. No one's going to want that drama, because Kyrie is one of those people that's a lot like Draymond Green, where you put him in the locker room and it's going to blow up.
Well, the difference with Draymond Green has 4 titles, and he's choosing to. The Warriors chose him, and Draymond chose them. I want your honest opinion on this. You told me privately, now I want you to say it publicly. And I want you to complete this sentence. The reason the Warriors got rid of Jordan Poole was
lack of leadership. Mm-hmm. He couldn't be another leader for the team. That, and also bad attitude.
I get it. And I didn't see it until the postseason. And not to mention the fact that Jordan Poole, as a shooter, as consistent as he was last year, he was madly inconsistent this past year. That's not going to work in that system.
Oh, God, no. You can't have a roller coaster ride for a shooter, especially if you're banking on everybody else, Clay, Steph, going deep, 25, 30 times a game?
No, you can't bank on that. And that, and you keep the core together, which is huge. And I know it's a war of attrition. You're talking about Draymond and Clay being in their 12th year, and Steph being in his 15th year, I beg your pardon now, 15th year for Steph, 13th year for Clay and Draymond. But We've said this all the time, with watching your Patriots and my 49ers do it for many, many years. How big is it, no matter how old they are, to keep the core together?
Oh, it is massive to keep the core together, especially wide receiving core, running back core, because if you're able to keep the consistency going, it's going to lead into more titles, more wins down the road. Whereas if you're always rotating pieces, no one's going to be able to flow and figure out how they're going to play, 5, 6 games down the road, let alone 5, 6 years down the road.
Let's stay in California. Speaking of free agency, Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell returned to the Lakers, both on multi-year deals. And I kind of made a lot of people bristle when I said the Lakers are making all of these moves except the correct one. That's one we'll discuss on Wednesday. But you already caught what I was hinting at when I said it. Can this Laker team, as currently constructed, really make another run at the Western Conference title?
No, not a chance. Not with LeBron doing what he's doing. Not a chance. I mean, you really think LeBron's going to be, letting the spotlight come off of him?
No.
Yes, LeBron, it's all about you.
Gee, Shane hasn't paid attention to this show at all, because we always play this. Yes, LeBron, it is you. It has always been you. It always will be you. Now I gotta pose this, and I'm gonna just let you go off. When I mention something like that, people bristle at.
Oh, you really want me to go off?
An edited version, yes. We'll save an unfiltered version for later, but
oh, you're going to really make me exercise brain cells to go off on this giant case of stupidity. Really? It's Monday morning. I haven't had caffeine. You want me to go off on this stupidity? How's that for a start?
Well, it's a perfect lob from Bird to McHale. It's a perfect lob. You know that.
Oh yeah, and what do I always do when you lob? What do I always do when you lob one up for me?
You cram it down with authority.
Oh yeah, this is where we need some of those Gus Johnson highlight reel calls,
or those Marv Albert calls from the '90s.
Kevin Hamlin,
Kevin Harlan, them too.
Yeah, get them all in there.
Yeah, you got to get them all in there. Shane Lowe joining us here on the program. We're going to talk about the feedback zone, and Ryan McCoffrey will join us. Man, a pleasure to have you on as always. I look forward to having you on more, my friend.
Time and place, brother. You name it.
I appreciate it. Thanks, big dog. Shane Lake joining us here on the program. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but let's go through some of the comments. And he led off, one of the ones that led off with Kyrie Irving stays with Dallas. Okay, and who the hell cares? Yeah, we touched on that. Seriously, Larry is in the house with us. What's up, Larry? Good to have you with us. David 3000, good to have you on as well. And of course, Victor had to chime in. Kyrie Pinkett Smith stays with the Mavs. Who cares? I gotta do this right. Let me find the correct clip, and let me do this the right way, because Cole Johnson, who's absolutely brilliant, came up with this. Kyrie Pinkett Smith. Just that alone, Kyrie Pinkett Smith. Now that I found what I'm looking for, Kyrie Pinkett Smith is staying with the Cavs and staying with the Mavs. Why did I say Cavs? And who cares? Who actually thinks they're going to do something? Who actually think the Dallas Mavericks are? You know what? I won't do it. Sometimes I have to, but I won't do it. I want to. Dear God, I want to. Dear Lord, I want to. But I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to take a break. And when y'all get back, Ryan McCoffey will join us. We'll find out what's on his mind next. This is Snowman in the Morning on WLEO in Baltimore, on BS3 TV, as well as CSTV, and all of our audio outlets. Back in a flash.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
We're not a cooking show. We're a show about cooking. We turn the camera around and point it at you. Our show takes place right inside your kitchen.
Hey y'all, Snowman here. Catch me, Cole Johnson, Wise El Jefe, Vicala, and the rest of the usual suspects and a few unusual suspects as we bring you 2 hours of the best sports talk you will ever watch and listen to. It's called Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Now on at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on CSTV and CSTVnow.com. Join us, won't you?
I'm in another lane. I'm a different breed. I'm everything you can never be. I'm next level. Next level.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing Next Level Pro Wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVnow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
Cause we take this job so serious.
The f is that? Sorry, pardon me. My apologies.
What in the all types of blue hell?
This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
Back here on this Manic Monday edition of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Got Ryan McCoffey coming on in about 60 seconds from now, which reminds me, I got to get my coffee here in a moment. I thought Kyrie was on that Titanic submarine. Well, that's the Dallas Mavericks. I thought I came up with a bad one. I thought I came up with a bad one. But what are you guys' thoughts? Let's light up the chat here. What are you guys' thoughts about A, Kyrie staying with the Mavericks, B, D'Angelo Russell staying with the Lakers, and C, Draymond Green staying with the Warriors? Is anybody surprised by any of those moves? D'Angelo Russell, yeah. Bloodbath and Beyond at ESPN job openings. There are job openings at ESPN. I was going to save that for later, but I don't want any of them. I'll explain. Got a guest for you. Stand by. This Coffee with McCarthy is sponsored by Steph Curry Cognac. One, and it's lights out. Here he is on the Invader Coffee guest line. Ryan McCoffey joining us with a big fat Irish smile this morning. What's going on, my friend?
Who are you calling fat?
Somehow I walked into that again. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, you did.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see you too. I enjoyed my weekend. I
Good.
watched well last Sunday I watched Air. We did a review on Air last Monday. I know Crunch was required, and I decided to go back and watch The Last Dance again.
Okay.
and I had this thought in my mind this morning as I'm getting ready for work. If you had to go back in time and you had to profile a specific team during an era, such as what what ESPN and Netflix did with The Last Dance, what team and what era would you concentrate your documentary on, your docuseries
80s
on?
49ers.
How did I see? How did I know?
80s 49ers.
How did I know?
Well, that's the team that got me started on football.
True.
They're the team that, look, Montana to Clark. Do I need to say anything else? The catch. And besides, it won me it won me some cupcakes and some cookies that week in school. So that's that's the team I'd profile. What about you? What would be your team?
I have several.
Okay.
The 1980s Edmonton Oilers. That dynasty. That's one of them.
Yari Curry, Wayne Gretzky.
Yari Curry, Wayne Gretzky, Grant Fuhr, Andy Moog, Dave Semenko,
and the bad
Smith,
part
Mark
is,
Messier.
And the bad part is Edmonton got me. Even I'm a Blackhawks fan, but Edmonton got me started in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Edmonton Oilers got me started in hockey because, to continue on that subject, if there's one, what's the one team that you knew was good and knew was championship material, but also drove you absolutely nuts? For me, that would be the Edmonton Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the Edmonton Oilers, and the Chicago Blackhawks are the two reasons I love hockey.
For me, it was the Pittsburgh Penguins. Especially during the early 90s with Mario, Yager.
Yager.
Yeah.
Who was in that? Tom Barrasso?
Tom Barrasso was goaltender. Yeah. Larry Murphy.
Brian
Trottier.
Brian Trottier.
He joined them in a trade. The Islanders wound up trading him. I think they either wound up trading him or he was a free agent and he went to the Penguins and won 2 cups with them.
I hated the Pittsburgh Penguins because when
did too.
First time I finally got to see my Blackhawks in a Stanley Cup final, who did we run into? The
Pittsburgh the buzzsaw. Well, I read reason why, because I couldn't stand this one kid in high school, and he was just kind of a jerk to me, and was a Pittsburgh Penguins fan.
Oh, there you go.
you know what though? I mean, after high school, I kind of got over it, and I came to appreciate the genius that was Mario Lemieux, because he had so many tools for a hockey player that, like, he was a power forward without being a power forward. He didn't get into fights. He didn't take too many penalties. He was just a natural scorer who was just a big dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
And he was fast, and he was graceful on the ice too.
And a lot of people wouldn't think that Mario was that graceful, but you have his skills. You pair him with Jaromir Jagr.
Yep. Rick Tocchet, Kevin Stevens.
There's a name I haven't heard in a while. Rick Tocchet.
Kevin Stevens.
Kevin Stevens. A team I would love to profile.
And Joey Mullen.
Joey Mullen.
Well, up until a few years ago, he was the top ranked the U.S. hockey scorer, like, of all time, until Patrick Kane broke that record.
And they had the old school Penguins logo on their sweater.
Mm-hmm.
They had the old school Penguins logo on their sweater.
The skating penguin.
To go modern. The skating penguin. See, logos like that struck fear into you.
As a New Jersey Devils fan. Yeah, as a New Jersey Devils fan, I was definitely. I mean, you respected them, but you didn't. I mean, you feared them,
but you didn't like them.
So much talent. It's so much talent on that team. It was ridiculous. Ugh.
And what's unfair, they kept getting more talent.
Mm-hmm. And then 1993 comes along, and the New York Islanders, probably the most monumental upset of the time of that era, beats them in 7 games and beat them in overtime.
You just don't do that to those Pittsburgh Penguins. You just don't do that.
No.
But see, the biggest reason I got into hockey, I mentioned the Edmonton Oilers, but it was a regular season game against the Chicago Blackhawks. And I heard part of the call with Pat Foley, who was doing the simulcast at the time with Dale Talon. It was 4-1. I swear to God, it was 4-1 when Mom and Dad shut it down and told me and Nicole, my sister, okay, y'all got to go to bed. Got to go to school in the morning. Why am I waking up hearing a crowd roaring on WMAQ, and they're talking about the Blackhawks game, and I hear the words miraculous comeback, and my ears perked up. I went, wait, how?
Yeah.
They won that game 6-4, and they were dancing along the aisles in the old Chicago Stadium. You know a team I'd love to take a look at? Your Devils, 1995.
Yep. 95 through 2003. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to take a look at that dynasty.
And the one thing about that era, about that New Jersey Devils era, is that everyone called it boring hockey because they instituted the neutral zone trap. But a lot of teams did that too, but they didn't do as effectively as the New Jersey Devils back in the day. I don't call it boring hockey. I call it joyless murder puck. That's what I call it.
I call it fundamentally sound hockey.
Yeah.
And this is from a fellow who hasn't skated a day in his life, but I've watched hockey for 40 years now, almost 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because how did Edmonton? And there was always that one thing that teams would get you with. How would Edmonton get you? They'd swarm you with their speed. How this past Blackhawks dynasty, speed and skill. The Penguins were just powerful.
Vegas, how did they do it? Size, speed, and skill. The three S's.
And 4 lines.
And good goaltending too. Timely goaltending with Aiden Hill.
4 productive lines also. And they had everything that they wanted to on that team. Wouldn't be surprised if they ran it back. But you mentioned taking a look at the Chicago Bulls dynasty. Is there a year in particular you wanted to look at? Because I don't need the documentary. I lived it. Did you get a visitor?
My cat just walked in.
I was going to say, did you get a visitor?
Yes. Yeah, he's here. No, and he's walking out because he hates clothes. He hates when my door is ajar. he whines at it. I'm like, dude, it's open. And he just sitting. No, he's gone. I can close it again.
He's gone.
He'll be back in a minute or two with the door open.
Oh, I know.
Open the door.
I know.
And yes, Victor, we did cuss on air. Sorry.
What? We said fundamentals. So
we said fundamentals. We're not supposed to cuss on air. Sorry, Victor.
I'm not. I say fundamentals all the time. But a lot of people will tell.
I'm about to cuss again.
Uh-oh.
Colin Kaepernick.
You tripping.
Wait, I didn't do that right. Try again with the volume.
You tripping.
I haven't had my caffeine yet. Why are you bringing up Colin Kaepernick here?
I have.
Or dare I ask such a question?
I know. How dare I? Yes, I know, Vika. I am cursing again.
We both are.
The audacity of this, I'll say it, fool, to come out and say, at 35 years old, I still want a shot at the NFL, when you had numerous opportunities to go back in.
Wait. Back up. That take right there just takes a tremendous.
I wasn't finished.
Sorry. Premature.
You're jumping the gun there, buddy. But rather than humble yourself and take a minimum contract or take a lower contract than what you were paid with the 49ers when you almost won a Super Bowl with them in 2012, instead of evolving your game, elevating your game and evolving your game to become a pocket passer and not so much as a running quarterback, quote unquote.
There you go, cussing again. Pocket passer.
I know. I'm sorry. Sorry, CSTV. I'll try to keep it cleaner. But rather than humble himself, he was just so full of himself with his just
bravado
and his braggadocio about being a great quarterback when he was not. He was exposed.
Yeah, he was.
And when you're exposed, you have to change your game. And he refused to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And he lost his starting job to Blaine Gabbert.
Of all quarterbacks to lose your starting job to,
which again,
you lost your starting job to Blaine Gabbert.
And I will point out until the end of time that Blaine Gabbert has a Super Bowl ring and Colin Kaepernick does not.
Does not. Does not. Hey, no argument there.
And I actually saw
that.
I was doom scrolling. I mean, perusing social media the other day, and I happened to see Shady Sports Network. Good old Sam.
Wait a minute. You were doing what?
I was doom scrolling. Perusing social media, and happened to find that Shady Sports Network had quote tweeted. I believe it was Avi, what's his face, and who said Colin Kaepernick comes out and says that at 35 years old he can still play in the NFL, but Sam Shady, good on him. Good on him. No, he said it himself.
Thank you, Sam.
Good on Sam to point this out, that he could have played in the USFL. He could have played in the CFL. He could have played in the XFL. And didn't take those opportunities. It didn't take those opportunities. To which I had replied.
Let me say good morning to this gentleman. Just became a patron this past weekend. So thank you very much for that. Patreon.com/SDM Sports Radio Network. If anyone else wants to join. Larry loves your word, which I've done a lot less of. Thank God for that. And the vacation taught me to do less of that, which was doom scrolling.
I promise no therapy sessions like Thursday with Cool McCain. Nothing like that. No therapy sessions that turned into a wrestling promo when Larry would add
a 45-minute wrestling promo.
Content gold. But anyway, I'm going back to my original point. So when Sam Shady correctly pointed out that Colin Kaepernick could have gone to any of these other leagues to get himself a contract and keep playing football, he didn't.
He didn't.
So, which I replied and said, well, he could have gone to the Albany Empire. Sorry. To which I replied, wait for it.
Quote.
Colin Kaepernick could have gone to the Albany Empire. Oh, wait.
Close quote.
If there's one person who needed a job that Antonio Brown could have offered, it was Colin Kaepernick, not Cam Newton. Come on.
This one's for you. And now a selection from the Wonderberg Choir entitled Humble Yourself.
Humble yourself.
And again, Colin Kaepernick.
You fool!
I'll do more on that at the top of the hour. He actually thinks he could still play. When after week 1 of the 2013 season, when he lit up Green Bay for 412 yards, he hasn't done a doggone thing since then.
Yeah. And when teams figure you out, you have to evolve. It's evolve or die in the NFL. He didn't. He stayed stubborn. He was stubborn and he kept going on with his game. And then there was that one disastrous performance he had. I can't remember which game it was, but that was basically the end of Colin Kaepernick in the NFL
against the Bears.
That's what it was, against the Chicago Bears.
2016 against the Bears at Soldier Field, when he had a passer rating number that is less than my oldest granddaughter, and she just turned 13.
0.0. You know, and I figured with
Zach Wilson's worst game.
Oh my gosh, his worst game against the New England Patriots wasn't that bad.
0.0, and yet he still thinks he can play.
0.
And he actually thinks he could still play.
Yeah. I mean, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. I mean, I get it with the whole social activism thing. Yeah, great. Do that. Do that off the field. Do that stuff off the field.
And it hampered him on it.
It did. It got into it. He was so concentrated. He was so focused on his social justice thing that he just didn't know.
And he messed up.
Didn't know how to play. And the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. And I guess the rest of the owners and the rest of the teams found out in the NFL that, and I could see that. And we talk about the owners colluding to keep him out of the league. In a way, yes, I could see it, but there was probably a reason why. If your performance if your stuff off the field affects your performance on the field, you are not going to last in the NFL.
No, you're not. You're not. And that's what he doesn't get.
Oh,
his performance off his stuff off the field affected his performance on it. And you said it best: evolve or die. Best quarterback that wore a 49er uniform who was taught to evolve or die, Steve Young.
Yep.
Because Steve Young was scrambling for his life in his years with the USFL, with the Los Angeles Express. Of course, we know the doom scrolling he went through with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he was doing a lot of scrambling with the 49ers early on. Even in his first MVP year of 1992, he did more running. But in the middle of that year came the evolution of Steve Young. In the middle of the 92 season.
Yeah. And when a quarterback needs to do a couple things. One of those things is to trust your offensive line to block for you in front to do that.
I'm sorry. Did you say trust your offensive line?
Yeah, I cussed again. Man, I'm filthy this morning.
We both are.
Espresso McCoffee is here. With a shot of Irish cream.
We must have the Irish cream, lads.
Boy. Oh, I forgot to mention before I start this morning, I want to send my thoughts and prayers and condolences to my co-host Dustin, because Kyrie Irving has now a Dallas Maverick for the next 3 years.
I never thought I'd do this to Dustin, but I'll do it anyway. And now a selection from the Wonder Bread Choir entitled "You Fool."
Poor Dustin.
Why? Okay.
He never wanted Kyrie back on his team. He never wanted Kyrie back on the Mavericks.
Do you blame him?
No, I don't, because he stole Luka's smile. Just like Shawn Michaels back in the day when he
stole from Luka.
Announcement he made on Monday Night Raw. My smile is gone. And Kyrie stole Luka's smile. It's gonna come to a point where it's gonna be either Luka or Kyrie. And Luka's gonna
that way anyway. It was that way anyway.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
And I have a bold prediction.
What,
I have a very bold prediction.
What, they're going to tank?
No.
Oh, damn.
I think Luka's going to force his hand into a trade, and I think he's going to wind up in the New York Knicks.
You fool!
I walked into that one. But he's going to wind up going somewhere that is going to want a scorer, a prime scorer. And thankfully, I'm just thankful that the Knicks haven't decided to do the really foolish thing and get James Harden. My goodness, he'd be at Scores every single night in New York City after their game. That's where he would be.
Any team that takes a chance on James Harden right now. You fool! Any team that takes a chance on James Harden. Why would you? Why would you want to take a chance on someone who clearly is not the man and clearly is not worth the effort?
The juice is not worth the squeeze.
Bingo. Now, of course, I got to get Cole to visualize that. Kevin Wilson in the house. What was
Hey,
never
Kevin.
reported about Colin Kaepernick was what kind of contract he wanted. If he wanted top money, he was never going to get it. Ain't that the truth? Here's the problem. He had $20 million on the table with San Francisco and opted out.
Yep.
Idiot.
That's okay. He's making more. He's making more money now than he did when he was in the NFL with those ridiculous Netflix specials and with bad history.
Boy, ain't that the truth.
NFL is really a modern day slave trade. What? Come on. And now a selection from the Wonder Bread Choir entitled "Get Your History Right."
He said what?
He compared the NFL Combine to he called it basically a modern day slave trade.
Excuse me.
You for real?
Bitch, are you for real? Bitch, please.
Sorry.
And Sam put it correctly. If the NFL Combine's a modern day slave trade, sign me up for slavery. Then me too. Me too. I'll give you my stats already. I'm 45 years old. I'm 5'11". I can play interior defensive lineman or get back into pass coverage. I may look slow. I'm slow, but I'm agile.
To Colin Kaepernick's statement, I'll repeat what McCoffey just said. And now a selection from the Wonder Bread Choir entitled "Get Your History Right," will you please? Yes, I've extended it.
That was the extra special deluxe edition, though, with with spearmint ice milk.
Mm-hmm. With spearmint ice milk.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Good Lord. Ryan McCoffey joining us as he does always. Catch Coffee with McCarthy each and every Monday, and on the new Snowman in the Morning YouTube channel, you will see this clip cut from the main show. We'll spread the word about Coffee with McCarthy. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you so much.
Just want to give a heads up, show plug, if I don't mind for a second. We're having this week's edition of No Corrections Required is going to be on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to review Moneyball, and we're going to continue our summer debate series as well.
That ought to be fun. I might have to get in on that. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Thanks so, man.
Back with more after this.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you talk and they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, They hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular. Ryan McCoffey now joins us this morning.
That's what you need to do to beat Josh Allen. You need to make him uncomfortable.
Hour 2, time for some Spivey notes. And here's Jay.
Well, I know he's only in his 3rd year, but they're just wasting Justin Herbert.
Hour 2,
the hardest working content creator I know, the playmaker.
Hey, LeBron James, the greatest scorer of all time. Hey.
Hour 2, the one, the only Christopher Dietz.
They rewarded Ohio State for not playing, and they punished USC for playing.
Hour 2, Sam Shady.
Oh man, it's been a roller coaster ride if you were a Philadelphia Stars fan.
Hour 2, that's Big Ben, the man in charge of the BS3 network.
And if I see Kurt 2 Chainz Cousins out.
Hour 2, Chris Bay's joining us.
Oh my God, this game. Oh, way to go, Sammy.
Hour 2, was El Jefe.
Oh man, I thought I missed it.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular, and it starts right now. Okay. Hour 2 thereof of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson on this Monday. This hour presented by BetUS.com, where the game begins. Log on to BetUS.com. Use the code Snowman and get a 125% deposit match on your initial deposit. Okay. I know what story I'm supposed to cover, but I'm going to go off the board here because my feed was inundated with news about all the layoffs at the 4-letter network. Which includes Jeff Van Gundy, Steve Young, Susie Colbert, John Lee, baseball reporter, Ashley Brewer, an anchor who had worked on the flagship show Sports Center, 20 commentators bite the dust. I don't know why I'm going. I don't know why I'm going there with this, but let me start with Jeff Van Gundy. Jeff Van Gundy said something during a LeBron James game, excuse me, a Miami Heat game that kind of, set the tone. In my opinion, it set the tone. When he said, "What is this league coming to?" After you know who flopped his tail off and wound up drawing the offensive foul. I won't go into details about the game that happened. The only detail I will expose is that it occurred against the New York Knicks. And I think you all remember the Sunday showcase where it happened. This is what I found out about big networks. Matter of fact, let me really do this the right way. Let me give you one of these. In the midst of all the layoffs, in the midst of all the firings, in the midst of being told that you're being laid off, but essentially being fired, I was asked a question. Someone posed to me this over the course of the weekend. Quote, if you had the chance now to work for that 4-letter network, would you? Close quote. Well, I'll answer said question. No. Because for me, and this is one man's opinion and one man's opinion only, it ain't worth it. Because I've seen over the years so many personalities go in there with the personality and leave out a shell of themselves. I've seen it happen. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I know people that worked for that 4-letter network, and that's exactly what they said happened to them. For me, being an independent broadcaster is the best thing that could have ever happened to me. That's the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Now, am I working on turning this into $2 billion a year? Yeah, you better believe I am. But I am not going to be confined to a point where I can't tell the truth about what's going on. I can't do it. I won't do it. This is why people bristle at me anyway when I say some of the things that I say. And you know something? I'm going to continue to say them even louder than ever because I believe it. Because I believe it. I believe in my heart that as a journalist, you know what? Let me borrow my friend Victor's words. And it goes like this. The worst thing you can do for the folks in the trenches is misinform them. I said it. I'll say it again, but Victor said it first. The worst thing you can do for the people in the trenches is misinform them. And that's just one of many networks that uses personalities to misinform the others. Look at some of the names. Susie Colbert, Jeff Van Gundy, Matt Hasselbeck, Keyshawn Johnson. And they just paid Pat McAfee $85 million. Coincidence? I think not. They had to get rid of all those personalities so they could pay Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee is going to bite the dust. And I hate saying this, but this is how they operate. The thing that sold Pat McAfee's show to them, or that sold the show to everybody, is the fact that Pat McAfee told it like it is. And now he's going to be forced to not do so. He's going to be forced to not do so. Because of a bag, and I hate to say this about Pat McAfee, I love you dearly. I love the Pat McAfee show. I will always tune in, but it's a bag that he fumbled. You're taking $17 million a year, over $30 million a year from FanDuel. Now, I don't know the inner workings. I don't know the inner decisions or anything like that, but I figure 30 is greater than 17 in terms of millions and millions of dollars a year. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But if it's a platform that you built up from scratch, which is what we're doing here, And you built it on telling it like it is to any and everybody. Why would you change? If it got your sponsors, why would you change? I just want to know what made Pat McAfee take this deal. That's the question. That's the question that I have. What made him take the deal? You're not only costing yourself money, you're costing yourself a very important word we like to call integrity. And I'm sorry, I just can't and won't roll like that. I just won't do it. I can't do it and I won't do it. No, it makes it sad. It's a sacrifice we see in sports journalism made all the time. It's a sacrifice we see made all the time. And I've had people say to me, you know, if you were being handed $17 million, I bet you would do it. No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't and I won't do it. I sacrifice myself enough. And I figure if people don't like my brand of sports journalism, that's on them. That's Snowman's take. What's yours? Here's Victor Locke joining me on the Invader Coffee guest line. What's up, man?
How's it going, Snowman? Can you hear me okay?
I got you loud and clear, brother.
What is going on?
You see all these layoffs at the four-letter network now, right?
Yes.
You know why they did that? Someone put a theory in the chat, and I want you to expand on this.
Okay.
They did it to pay Pat McAfee.
I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it is they kind of lost the main mission of their message, and they're trying to recoup from that, because something weird happened in that four-letter network. I would say in the past 2 years.
They went woke.
Yes. It was a lot less about sports and a lot more about politics. I mean, they went to such a degree. And I would say it actually started like in 2016 after, who got elected. They started to become more and more about, let's talk about the political spectrum. Let's talk about politics. And people are like, we don't care. We don't care about your politics. We don't care about politics in general. We just want to hear, who's going to go to the next level, who's going to win the next game, who's going to be the next champion.
Isn't that kind of how it's supposed to be?
It's what we're supposed to do as journalists. What you guys supposed to do? I can't necessarily put myself in that column, but
what I've been doing for 30 years.
Exactly.
It's what I've been doing for almost 30 years.
But it is absolutely insane.
I can't do it another way. I just can't.
You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. It's what I see when I look at the guys in this group. I'm talking about you, Cole Wise, Mr. McCoffey, Sam Shady, Playmaker, Big Ben, Cool McCain. You guys are all creating Shane, David. All you guys are creating they're cultivating this new era of sports journalism that's more entertaining and more informative. I hope I'm not missing out on anybody. Drew Willingham, Chris Dietz, though, everybody that's in the Snowman village, the Snowman community, has cultivated themselves into being amazing journalists as well, especially in the sports field. And it's really where most companies should be going, but with the four-letter network, they've gone too far. They can't really find where they can't really see themselves coming back from it.
No, they've gone too far left. They've gone too far. They've gone too far left. See, when I was When I got hooked on SportsCenter, it was all about the sports and its highlights.
Yeah.
I mean, opinion be damned, but at the same time, you tune into SportsCenter to see who did what.
I'll put it like this. There are two types of eras. There's the era, there's a Stuart Scott era, and there's everything else, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Because when Stuart Scott, God rest his soul, when he was like the face of ESPN, my God, was it incredible.
The first one that did it for me at ESPN was Chris Berman.
Chris Berman was good too.
Because Chris Berman took nicknames and the information and made it fun.
Right.
That's what kind of got me. That's where I got half of the nicknames I got.
Yeah.
From his personality.
Yeah, I agree.
From his personality.
I absolutely 100% agree. It's just maddening. And like I said, they went so far to the left. I mean, did you ever think you would see an Oscars clip on a sports show?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, the Oscars. Remember back I can't say way back. It's only been a year, but after the slap and everything that happened, every single ESPN show was talking about it. Everyone. I'm like, what does this have to do with sports?
This.
Ow. I really was not expecting a Cole Johnson.
Why did you have to hit me in the mouth with a train?
I got hit with a Cole Johnson comedic uppercut, and I'm not happy about it.
Lord have mercy.
Why did you do that, Cole?
You know what, Cole?
You tripping.
To start the morning.
What?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Good morning, Victor. Good morning, Snowman. Good morning, Fanatic Feedback Zone. Good morning, everybody who's listening and watching. You see, I put forth the slate. I put forth these news stories, and I give my partner a guideline as to what to talk about in a given broadcast. And I know I did put somebody on ESPN for his afternoon show, but for the morning show I did not. And unfortunately, Mr. Vickala, you received this train along with Mr. Snow.
Oh, so I deserve to get uppercut by a train?
I'm like, oh Lord, they're talking about ESPN. I'm like, Lord.
I mean, it is newsworthy.
Oh, I'd not say it's not newsworthy.
So you mean to tell me because I took one little veer left on the route? Yes, I'm using football, which is your chief sport as well as mine.
That's why I'm laughing hard.
I took one veer left. No, let me do this the right way. So I did a John Riggins counter left.
Oh, counter left.
4th and 1, Super Bowl 17.
Yeah, one of the most iconic plays of Super Bowl history. Yep.
So because I did that, you delivered a tiger uppercut to everybody. I
just hope I don't need dental.
And of course, I can't stop laughing.
Not you hope you don't need dental, Victor.
I just hope I don't need any dental work being done. That hurt.
Oh my gosh.
You took a train and gave us a root canal with it.
Right.
I'm like, these fools are talking about ESPN. I know I did not put ESPN on the schedule. I know I didn't. I'm like, oh Lord, okay. Well, I know how I'm gonna introduce myself.
It's like I'm gonna sit in the background till they mess up. Oh, there you go.
But see, isn't this what he always does? He
No,
waits until he. How can I? Okay, let me think. There's a way that Cole Johnson describes this all the time when we're off the air. He waits until the right words are pursed from our lips.
Actually, it's more like he just waits for us to like, let me see when y'all mess up.
He's waiting.
I'm just waiting.
Wait a minute. He's waiting for us to slip.
Yep.
Let me go digital underground. He's waiting for us to triple slip.
He's waiting to catch a slip, and that's what that was.
That's sad. And I was actually listening to Digital Underground earlier this morning. Ain't that something?
Make tubers. I cranked that up getting ready this morning.
But
no,
since we're here, how are you, Cole?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
how
fine.
are you?
I'm fine. Otherwise,
Yeah, you sit there with a 2.5 foot smile on your face.
I come off a work meeting and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna head to see what my boys are talking about, and I'm like, oh, they're talking about something that they didn't have scheduled to talk about. How apropos.
Hey, I
and
already...
you know what's bad? And you know what's bad? This is where I get even. Cole sees that, delivers the uppercut, and then we get this.
I will say this though. I don't know what we were supposed to talk about. All I knew is that ESPN got brought up, and I had some things to say.
I know. This isn't directed to you, sir.
You're directing this to me.
No, this wasn't to Victor, because I figured he was an innocent bystander. So, Mr. Locke, I apologize to you, sir.
It's
no,
fine.
you don't. No, you don't.
I thought you were still going to talk about Mr. Clownpernick. And yes, that's the new name.
I wasted enough time talking about Clownpernick.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, well, for that too.
I'll take that one.
Good Lord. I thought I saw his.
You did. You did.
I'll take that uppercut. The other one was like uncalled, but this one I will take.
Tiger uppercut.
Now, Victor, why'd you have to roll that red carpet to him?
Oh, he read it up. You already had it open. He already had that red carpet already rolled out.
Have.
Do you know how many?
I should have.
Do you know how many times you've rolled the red carpet out to me?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
There you go.
Oh yes, like one today, and I heard you mention it. Yeah, I figured, okay, Draymond re-signed with the Warriors. I already know that's the story I had to give you. So that was a red carpet I rolled out to you.
Now here's a reason I'm saving the bulk of that one for this afternoon, and his name is Kendrick Perkins.
Oh boy, fired.
Thank you.
How come he wasn't fired?
Well, I could tell you why he wasn't fired. So
why wasn't he fired?
He wasn't. He doesn't cost as much.
But he doesn't know a doggone thing.
Oh no! Do you see me debating that?
No.
No. He doesn't cost. He doesn't cost so much.
Wait a minute. This is coming from a guy who had the greatest one-liner when he did Cold Sports on the Daily, when he said, "Quote, Kendrick Perkins. How can I put this succinctly? Oh yeah, you tripping."
Because I've said that one too many times about him. I'm like, Lord have mercy. One of the you tripping line. Look, one of the you tripping lines was not this past year, but the year before when the Lakers assembled every old geriatric man that could possibly play in the NBA, and he put up that hot take, which said, "Quote,
oh no,
the Lakers will win 70 games this year. Carry on." Close quote.
And now a selection from the Wonder Bread Choir entitled Kendrick Perkins, You Were and Are Tripping Again.
Good God.
Jeez. I think that's the other thing is
I
that
saw
ESPN
that, and I remember you sending it to me.
I think that's the other thing. ESPN has just gotten dumber and dumber with the people on there. I mean, look at the people that they now like put up on a pedestal: Ryan Hollins, Kendrick Perkins, Malika Andrews.
Don't mention Ryan Hollins and Sage Steele Jr.
I haven't had breakfast yet.
Oh Lord, why'd you have to mention Ryan Hollins and
Why'd
Sage
you have
Steele
to
Jr.?
mention Sage Steele Jr., Victor? See?
Because that's what they're putting up as the top tiers. They're putting it as the creme de la creme for ESPN now. That's what they're doing.
Well, see, I figured
true.
Malika
He's
Andrews was going to
true
get
with
there.
that.
Yeah,
he's true with that. But
no, he's not lying. He's very true.
No lie to be found.
I figured they were going to post up Malika Andrews when they got Rachel Nichols out and put her in place. I was like, okay, that's going to be one of the future. That's going to be one of the future people that ESPN is going to throw all of their resources around and on.
And it's gross. It's freaking gross.
Yeah, and what sucks is.
Jack,
they co-sign on her poisonous takes. I think that's the best way I could put it.
Paul Allen.
Are you kidding me?
Venomous takes. You're right.
Yeah, they co-sign on it, and they don't check her for it.
Not only do they co-sign on it, they encourage it.
Yeah, and they don't check her for it.
And no one. Look. Y'all know how I feel about Stephen A, but she had, let me correct my sentence, had no business trying to check him.
On his show.
On his platform.
That situation, I believe, started off as like she felt she couldn't be touched, especially in a situation like this. Like, who was going to really go?
She still feels that way.
And take consideration that Stephen A got in trouble way, way, way back because of something that came about something similar.
Because he spoke the truth.
He spoke the truth about Michelle Beadle.
Put your hands on each other. What's wrong with that statement?
Yeah, he spoke the truth about Michelle Beadle and it got him suspended for a week.
Exactly. Yeah. So now Malika's like, I can check him because he's already on thin ice. And then she forgot who she was talking to.
Yeah. And I'm like,
they better be glad I'm not there.
I'm like, no, girl, you don't do that on his platform.
Exactly.
You could try to pull it on yours, but I don't think you would.
It's no longer his platform.
And if you really want
to think about it honestly, it's no longer his platform. Let's take 3 minutes and we come back. Jay Spivey at the bottom with a full house when y'all get back.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you talk and they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground, and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
We are minus a snowman.
Oh, I love that. Such a beautiful visage. Drink it all in.
That ain't right. I mean, I would say saying if Mike McCarthy would leave, but that's not going to work.
Oh Lord! But before I really hurl, let me get this played here. He joins us every single Monday at the bottom of our number 2. Welcome, Jay Spivey of Spivey Notes. How are you, man?
Oh, how are you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Spivey.
Doing good.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah. So you're joining with Brian, who I guess he decided to have to take a break, and Victor Locke, aka Victor Locke. And
morning, Mr. Spivey.
All right. Your quick impressions on how Wake Forest was covered in baseball this season. Do you think it was great? Do you think it was bad? Do you think it was atrocious, and why?
Well, I'm still hearing. I mean, I was watching. You pretty much have to watch ESPN if you're going to watch sports.
Of course.
But I do not like the way they cover baseball, whether it be college or mostly MLB. So I was sitting there watching. For some unknown reason, they showed the Mets last night, who are now 16 games behind first place.
Yeah, the Braves. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was not going to mention that, but I'm glad you did. Well, and they go on and on and on analytically, and they started talking a lot about the College World Series, and they kept talking about Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz, and never said a word about Wake Forest. And I know that Wake, I guess, probably finished third, even though there's not a third place team. But they never said a word about it. And Brett Lauder, when the draft comes up, the draft will be Sunday night, and Brett Lauder will probably be probably from what it looks like, a top 6 to 8 pick.
Yep.
And not one word was said about him last night. And they talked pretty extensively about the draft last night.
And why are we not surprised that this is going on?
I was going to ask, oh, wait, they actually cover Wake Forest this time?
No, not a word was mentioned.
No, not a peep or a word. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me. And I'm glad you actually mentioned ESPN and their coverage of baseball, because I've had an issue about it too. From the standpoint of and we're sort of, I think, bringing the conversation that Jay, Brian, and I have had privately, publicly.
Yeah.
I think it's an absolute shame, and no, this is not clowning the Yankees and the Red Sox or the Mets even, but it's an absolute shame that in June you had the Yankees Red Sox be the Sunday night game in back-to-back weeks.
They were on Cole, not only that, they were on 6 straight nights when they played.
Yep.
They played back-to-back weekends. They were on national
and they
TV.
were on all of
They
them.
were on national TV all 6 nights.
Meanwhile, you got the Atlanta Braves, who are on a hot streak right now. Most All-Stars of any team represented in the All-Star game.
You got the Texas Rangers, who were actually a surprise being in front in the AL West. And neither team was being featured.
And threatening to run away with the AL West.
You got the Marlins, you got the
Marlins, who
Diamondbacks,
surprised too. Right, and the
Diamondbacks. You got a number of American League teams. I mean, heck, if nothing else, sure the Angels. I mean, they got the 2 best players in baseball.
Right,
and then
but we're going to show the Mets last night.
But Snowman, what were we talking about? What were we talking about last time about media darlings? There are certain teams that certain corporations are going to prop up, and they're going to leave everyone else in obscurity. And only the true fans are going to actually seek those teams out and seek the media coverage for those teams out.
And I know I brought this up ad nauseum to you guys, but my biggest problem, not only with ESPN showing the same teams over and over and over, but my biggest problem, I really believe, is that when they broadcast a game, it is nothing but analytics. I don't care what the speed of the ball off the bat was. I don't care how far it went over the fence. All I care about is it went over the fence. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah,
I don't care about hard hit ball. I don't care about barrel rate. I don't care about all that crap.
I'm with you. I could care less about, okay, well, the pitch was 99, but the pitch that got deposited over the fence 400 feet, it traveled 110 miles an hour. I care less about that. It's about where it landed, not how fast the ball went out of the park.
Every pitcher, every hit on there is just all they talk about is analytics. I don't care.
I never cared about analytics. I never cared about analytics anyway, and I'm so sick and tired of the StatCast era.
That's all they show.
Now you're taking tremendous feats and you're applying them to an era that shouldn't exist in the first place.
Now you guys, I know you follow sports. I know you follow baseball. What is the difference in a ball that was hit 104 miles an hour that was hit right to a right fielder who catches it, or a guy who hits the ball 40 miles an hour and it barely goes 10 feet and gets the base hit? Now you tell me what's the difference in that?
The difference is one runner got on, the other didn't. That's the difference.
The other didn't.
But yet they're enamored with hard hit balls. Who cares?
When logic fails, run the stats.
But we saw this coming because they seem to be enamored with hard and fast pitches too.
Yes, they are.
And it was all about, okay, well, can he actually go triple digits on the gun? And
and you wonder why there are so many injuries with pitchers these days.
They're throwing their arms out.
It's certainly not because of overuse. It's because they're throwing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah,
your arm is not meant to throw a ball 100 miles an hour.
It's really not.
Yeah, and definitely not meant to do it repeatedly.
No.
Only select few can really master hitting triple digits, and usually you're only doing that for an inning or two. You're not supposed to do that.
You're not doing it over the course of a game, right?
And the first one I saw do that was Nolan Ryan. And Nolan Ryan wasn't hitting.
He never had any injuries.
Nolan Ryan wasn't hitting 100 miles every single pitch. But I tell you what, he was consistent 90s.
Bobby G, same way.
You know what pitchers don't have today, and I've mentioned this to Jay, and I've mentioned this to the crew. You know what pitchers don't have today, and I think Jason Joseph will appreciate this. An out pitch.
Well, Brian, my biggest problem with pitchers today is they don't know how to pitch. They throw.
That too. Yes.
They throw.
Oh, you mean like a Mariano Rivera cutter? Yeah, gotcha.
Yes. They don't have an out. They don't have an out pitch.
And to your point, Jay, that's the problem. It's that they're taught to throw. They're not taught to pitch. And it further. What's the saying? Well, no, not the saying. What's your prevailing overall opinion about quarterbacks in NFL? Jay?
The worst taught position.
The worst coach position in any sport.
Mm-hmm. The pitcher is coming very close to that.
I think you're probably right. You're probably right.
For me, it's a dead heat.
If it's not there yet, because because now you have either the pitchers who throw straight heat or the pitchers who just throw really pretty, really pretty off-speed pitches.
You guys know I follow the Braves religiously. I mean, I'll fully admit I'm a huge Braves fan.
Yeah.
You know, the sad part about it is they got 2 former Braves pitchers in the Hall of Fame who I don't know in this era would have even been drafted. Greg Maddux and Todd Glavine probably wouldn't even have been drafted.
Isn't that a trip? Yeah, because neither one of them threw gas. Isn't that a trip?
And they both have over 300 wins.
And they're 2 of the best pitchers I've ever seen and laid eyes on.
But you're right. Has it, and
they wouldn't see a major league team because they don't really have a pitch that clocks over 92 miles an hour.
But they knew how to pitch.
But they knew how to get you out, and they knew how to fool batters 2 and 3 times at the plate per game.
This guy sounds.
I've covered baseball religiously now as a journalist since 2000, and there are 3 words I always hear. The right pitching coaches will tell you 3 words: pitch to contact.
Absolutely.
This is gonna sound real.
Pitch to contact. All right, you have infielders and outfielders around you for a reason.
The Braves put an absolute whipping on the Marlins over the weekend, but they were up 16-4 Friday night. The pitcher came in and started walking people. Just throw it down the middle of the plate.
This is gonna sound really out of left field, but pitchers are a lot like fishermen, like anglers, especially when they use artificial lures. Basically, you are using it to actually fool the batters, like you're trying to fool the fish.
That's 100. That's what a pitcher's supposed to do.
And ask yourself this: how many perfect games have been done by just the pitcher?
The last one I saw done by just a pitcher was Mark Burley.
And I would even counter that because Mark Burley had a lot of help from his.
Oh yeah, the outfielders.
Look,
you pitch to contact.
Look, I saw 5 of Nolan Ryan's 7 no-hitters. Every last one of them depended on, if not 2, 3 good defensive plays.
Yes,
for him to have that no-hitter be intact throughout the game.
Dwayne Wise.
Well, I mentioned, thank you, Victor. You knew I was going. Mention Mark Burley because one play saved that no-hitter. And that one play was made by Dwayne Wise. Or saved that perfect game, I beg your pardon.
Yes.
That one made by Dwayne Wise. If Dwayne Wise doesn't make that catch at the wall, why are we even having this conversation?
No, we're not. No. Because there's been another game where Mark Burley put in a great performance, but it wasn't a perfect game.
JJ. Pitchers are throwing 95 in high school, and they're throwing curve balls at 12.
And you wonder why there's so many Tommy John surgeries.
Oh, you were going exactly where I was about to go, Jay. You're going exactly where I was about to go, man. And we're seeing an increase in Tommy John surgeries now because
Victor and I
saw so many 10-year-olds. Kids in middle school getting Tommy John surgeries.
Yes.
Victor and I have seen so many 10, 11, and 12-year-olds throwing curveballs and knuckleballs, and we're looking at each other going, why?
That arm is going to be gone. Yeah. And you don't want to see that.
There was a kid who used to throw 12-6 curveballs at 9. Was not pitching when he was 12.
He was not
even playing.
Yes. It's not pitching at all. It's the greed. It's the greed of winning and not developing your kids.
Yeah. Well, you let them throw until they get mature enough, and normally it's about the latter end of high school. Then you start having them. Then you start teaching them other pitches besides fastballs.
Well, look at the perfect game last week in the Yankees game. Just a couple weeks before that, he was suspended. Herman was suspended for using junk.
Yeah.
Also consideration, like when I was a pitcher, when I started in high school, they started me off with the fastball. Why? Because you need to learn the command of the fastball. It's the easiest command. Once you hit your locations there, then you can start getting a little fancy. Start throwing maybe a slider, maybe a split finger.
Whoa. Rewind, Victor.
Fancy?
Pitching location with fastballs. That's what you were taught, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing that in today's day and age, these pitchers aren't taught location. They're just taught or if you're gonna throw heat, get it by the batter.
Right.
You know a pitcher recently, a closer who has suffered 2 Tommy John surgeries and is just now getting back, but he'll never be the same again. Look up the name Jordan Hicks.
Oh yeah,
I've heard
with the St. Louis Cardinals.
There's 103. There's 103.
103 mile an hour sinker.
Oh, gosh.
Why are you throwing a sinker at 103 miles an hour?
There's no point.
There's no point to throw a sinker that hard.
That sinker should be your out pitch.
Yes.
Period. Like, hey, let's light up the chat here. What are some out pitches that you knew was coming, but you still couldn't do a thing about? We mentioned Mariano Rivera with the cutter.
Oh yeah, cutter. Now everybody's throwing a cutter.
Everybody got out with the cutter. Yep.
But no one's, but except Mariano Rivera, everybody's throwing a cutter. And I'm going to make Cole smile by saying this. No one's mastered it.
Oh, Snowman.
No
Snowman like
one's
this
mastered
one.
it.
Snowman like this one. How about the Jose Contreras forkball?
You know how much you know how much work it takes to throw a forkball?
Yep.
And
that's why he doesn't use it that often. He used it when he knew he needed an out.
I'm
the
gonna give you
fastball was his front. The fastball. Ed Farmer said it. Ed Farmer said it when Contreras pitched the White Sox to the World Series in 2005. His front pitch was his forkball, and his out pitch used to be his fastball, and he used to get killed. But when he came to the White Sox, Don Cooper flipped it. Taught him to flip it. The front pitch, it was his fastball, and the forkball was his out pitch.
Now I'll tell you, this is probably gonna be a surprise to many, but for me, the best out pitches I've ever seen both involve curveballs, and it both came from hurlers. Nolan Ryan, Steve. Curveball.
Oh yeah,
I can see that.
That was the 2 best out pitches I've ever seen any pitcher throw. Yes, because it was all set up by the heat that they both knew they could place inside, outside, or middle of the plate, high or low.
And you just took the words. You just took the thought out of my head, Cole. It's not only them throwing the heat; it's them. What's the word I'm looking for? Commanding it.
Well, here's the thing: is that when you throw heat, you're trying to see if the batter's going to chase, and they're going to get a timing down.
Yes.
Now you throw something a little off speed, like even a changeup.
Mm-hmm.
Now their timing is complete. Throw all the way off, and they end up whiffing.
K-Rod with the slider.
That's a good pitch.
When he was a reliever.
That was a good pitch.
Trevor Hoffman with his slider.
Oh God, Trevor Hoffman's slider was nasty. Yes.
Well, to go back, what what the original question was, the Giants gave Kapler's enamored by analytics. He comes out with an opener last night for 2 innings. Got shelled. Brings in a guy who should have been starting, Alex Wood. He got shelled because he's not used to coming in the 3rd inning. And they're saying, the Giants are like the National League version of the Tampa Bay Rays.
How?
Boy, and you wonder why the Rays have not won a World Series? You wonder why the Rays have not won a World Series.
And they won't win one
this year.
Every single year they have the best record in the American League. And how many World Series have they won?
And they fizzle the playoffs somehow. Yeah.
None.
That tells you, I don't care how much analytics is driven during the regular season. You have to have starting pitching in the playoffs.
You got to have them arms. You got to have
starting pitching in the playoffs.
You got to have them arms in October. That is the most important element to have. I don't care if the bats are silent.
Pitching wins.
Got to have those arms. And if you don't have the arms, forget about it.
Pitching wins championships, and I know JJ's going to remember this. Just remember the way the Phillies bats were against a fellow by the name of Framber Valdez.
Yes.
God, did Framber Valdez
were it not for one
that imposing lineup look silly? I'm like, wow.
One pitch, put Philadelphia on the board. I'm going back to Game 6. One pitch put Philadelphia on the board. And one pitch hit by Yordan Alvarez rescued Valdez. And that was the one that he hit into the sky and hasn't come down yet.
And there you go. Valdez in the World Series only made one mistake in his 2 starts. He only made one mistake. He did get rescued by Valdez, by Alvarez. But that lineup made a really good starting pitching staff of the Braves look like they were in college. I'm like, they're tearing the cover off the ball with the Braves. I'm thinking, man, the Astros, they're going to have their work cut out for them.
And in 2 starts against Framber Valdez, they could not.
They couldn't solve them. Yeah. They couldn't touch them. They couldn't solve them.
They solved Justin Verlander, but they just could not touch Framber Valdez. And that's the most rare thing you see, a starting pitcher with some endurance, with a fastball, and with command.
And I bet you he was actually just fooling them. He was fooling them. He knew he could read them like a book. He can read what they were going to give him, and he worked them over.
One of the best pitchers, and Jay mentioned it, and we all agree, was Tom Glavine. Tom Glavine threw an 8-inning shutout in 1995. He threw an 8-inning shutout against
Cleveland.
Indians.
Against
Cleveland. 1995 at Fulton County Stadium. Do you know that powerful Cleveland lineup produced 844 runs in 144 games? 844 runs.
But the best pitching staff I think I've ever seen, the best starting pitching staff I think I've ever seen, quieted those bats down. The 90s Braves.
But yet,
like
I said earlier, I don't think in this day and age, I don't think either Glavine or Maddox would have even been drafted, let alone play on a major league team.
No, because the first thing they'll say is, do you have a fastball that clocks over 92 miles an hour? No. Well, then you can't be effective starting pitcher in the majors.
It's got to be 95 now.
Be quiet.
It's got to be 95 now.
Yeah, exactly.
Greg Maddux never had a fastball over 90. He didn't
need one.
Didn't need one.
He didn't need one to Ryan's point earlier. He didn't need one because that curveball, that thing moved like a forkball.
Yes. To go along with the analytics craze, the whiff rate that they always talk about.
Oh God!
Again, who cares?
Oh, wait.
Gives a crap about that.
What?
Yes, WHIF. Yeah, who gives a crap?
The whiff rate?
Yes, WHIFF whiff rate.
Who
which
gives
is
a crap?
Apparently, a major stat in this analytics age.
Says who?
ESPN and the StatCast era.
And you wonder why they're losing money.
I'm telling you, gentlemen.
And you wonder why they're losing fans. Screw the money. You wonder why they're losing fans.
I tell you, gentlemen, I kid you not. The older I get, the more I don't recognize sports because of stuff like that. Who cares about a whiff rate?
Just
like batting average, home runs, ribbies, maybe on base percentage, strikeouts based on balls. That basically is all the stats I care about for a batter.
I don't even like on base percentage because,
and I said maybe that
they've highlighted on base percentage for batters like they've highlighted whiff rate. It's part of the what do they call it? Slash line.
Oh, slash line.
Part of the slash line. See, when I watched baseball back in the day, and I know everybody can identify with this, they showed 3 key figures for a batter when he came to the plate on television: batting average, home runs batted in. Yeah. That's it.
Well, listen, because we're in this age of Ohtani, who's don't get me wrong, is doing one of the most remarkable feats I've ever seen at any level of athletics. But I watched most of the Angels game yesterday on MLB Network, and I mean most of the home runs he hits are 450 feet, and every single time he hit one 454 feet, and it was 104 miles an hour, and the launch angle was 86 degrees. I don't care. It went over the field.
Did he hit one over the
crap?
And with Ohtani's case, the answer is a resounding yes.
I'll put
the same with Yordan Alvarez. Okay, and y'all know I love Yordan Alvarez. I love Ohtani, but I love Yordan Alvarez. Pure power hitter.
I'll put it like this: when logic fails,
how fast it came up. Who cares how fast it came off the bat? Did it land in the field of play? Did it land in the seats?
Thank you.
If it did any one of those, that's a good hitter.
They'll say so and so's coming out of a slump. He hit 5 balls in a row at 105 miles an hour. No, he went 0 for 5 and he hit right to the right fielder 5 straight times.
He went 0 for 5. Here's why I make this argument, and I pose this question on social media. who was the best well-rounded right-handed hitter that you've ever seen? 2 names for me come to mind: Frank Thomas, Edgar Martinez.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I put it like this.
Well, at his height, probably Pujols.
Yeah, Albert.
Yeah,
I would say Albert
Pujols,
too.
Yeah.
I would, I would, but I thrive on consistency. And Pujols was really consistent when he was with the Cardinals. Okay, in his Cardinal days, he was really consistent. God bless you, Mike Shannon, for that, for many of his Pujols home run calls. John Rooney too, for that matter. But I'm talking about really, really consistent. And what the number that gets me for a right-handed hitter, and it holds true for Frank Thomas, 300 hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For his
Average
19-year career.
Average 300. Yeah. Average career. Yeah.
300 for his 19-year career.
I put it like this: when logic is not enough, fans run the stats, and the more stats that you can bring up, the more stats you can invent, the more knowledgeable you sound to themselves.
This moment of bronze sexual stupidity is brought to you by Hooked on Bronix. When you start talking like an idiotic bronze sexual, Hooked on Bronix can set you right. Call 1-800-YOKAY. Real LJPM. Now approve all this.
I'll leave y'all with this. The sporting world nowadays, and it's seeping through to college and in some cases high school. Jay's in North Carolina, and they're big on high school sports in North Carolina. They're concerned with only 2 things: stars and stats.
Yeah, and now it's a comedic right cross.
And that's painful. That is painful. Jay, thanks for joining us, brother.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, guys. Enjoyed it. Have a good 4th.
You too, brother.
Thank you, Jay.
I'm sure as hell tempted to sleep in tomorrow. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you,
then they are not big enough.
Dream big, do bigger. Enjoy your holiday. We're out of here. We'll see you next time. Out.
Yeah.
Take care.